Last unfair question, I promise, I think.
So far, they're not unfair, really.
Well, yeah. I mean, so this is, I have no idea. I can't really put my finger on this one. Like, what does the agent look like when those risks are being managed, when those decisions can be made so much faster, right? Like,
That's a great question. That's a great question.
You can do whatever you want. The Westfield Inn where we're standing, actually this street corner has been a place that guests and travelers have visited since the 1830s. Actually, 20 years before the company existed. Our company was founded in 1848.
this is pretty cool.
This is the grand entrance that Craig promised you as we cross the threshold from what has been the current environment. Yeah, it's much better going this way, right? No. So. You gotta go to your desktop?
Yeah,
Ed?
that was
Yeah.
too small.
Nice to meet you.
yeah.
How you doing, sir?
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, not a problem. Okay.
Definitely.
You know a guy or two, probably.
No, I think we
You might be
have
able to-
plenty
might be
of
able-
time baked in. So
Yeah. How's it going? Good.
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 A little crazy this morning, but not bad.
Yeah. I got into this first. This kind of gauges my barometer of people's problem-solving abilities. Very important question. How do you guys store leftover pizza in the Largent household?
In the Largent household,
Yeah.
leftover pizza.
Yeah.
So we have to-go boxes in our
Okay.
house because we have a pizza oven.
Oh,
out
look at this
back.
guy. He's got a pizza oven. All right.
And we have 5 kids grown and now a couple grandkids. And so in the summers, I turn into a pizza chef. And
All right. So pizzas.
we
All right.
make lots of pizzas, and my wife has all these to-go boxes. So we wrap them up in foil, put them in to-go boxes.
So foil though. The foil is you find that satisfactory.
Saran wrap and then foil.
So all then. Okay. All right. Don't skip any details on me.
No,
here.
okay, sorry.
All right. Well, that far surpassed any expectations that I had about leftover pizza storage.
Well, good.
So,
Well, heck, we might just call it a day.
I mean, I feel like I've learned more in the last 5 minutes than I expected to coming here.
Your expectations must have been low.
No, well, I mean, pizza's important, you know. So,
Yep.
This is something that is curious to me. If I'm correct, like you've spent a majority of your career here at Westfield.
Yep.
So why Westfield?
Why Westfield? So I've been here 32 years, and 32 years ago, coming out of college, I needed a job. I had a couple options, but Westfield was a great option. I didn't know Westfield existed. On-campus interview, and then I came here. It seemed like a pretty good company. Had been around a long time. It was stable, and they needed someone with my background, and so here I am.
So what did you enter the company doing? Like, what was your background?
Yeah, so we've had a management training program for over 40 years.
Okay.
And so as a college graduate, I came into that program along with like 44 other college graduates.
Yeah.
And we spend the better part of 6 months together going through lots of different aspects of training. I like to say it's where I learned how to spell insurance, because most of us didn't go to school to be insurance geeks. And then we all went out to our various disciplines. And I graduated with a computer science degree and a business degree, and so I went into IT after that program.
Bowling Green?
Bowling Green, yeah.
Bowling Green and computer science. So what was that first couple days on the job of like getting into it and like what?
It was a little overwhelming. I initially started out in a programming development area that maintained our life insurance policy processing system, which seemed amazingly complex to me, and took weeks and weeks to sort of get to the point where I could understand enough to not do too much damage.
What were some of the like first things like they had you doing like just
really simple basic maintenance,
Yeah.
where a change needed to be made, like there was a product change maybe, and it was larger, go into this specific area and do this, and from a programming standpoint, test it out and move it to production.
Obviously, there's a whole fancy word that we've been tossing around the industry for a while, InsurTech.
Yeah.
From somebody that has grown up in that, basically grown up with insurance and technology, what are your thoughts on like kind of this, I don't want to say it's a trend, but just kind of this more dedication to advancing that area? What does that look like to you?
It's impressive. I think it is a trend. You know,
Yeah.
I've been in the space for over 30 years. I remember going to Silicon Valley a dozen years ago, and no one said anything about insurance.
Yeah.
We're there, you know, every couple months now, and the amount of capital coming into the space and the amount of attention is completely different. So it's significant, and it's exciting. It's exciting to have a different set of capital and talent thinking about our industry.
Yeah. What's got you most excited? Like, what's one thing that you have seen maybe that you think has, you know, some promise?
You know, our perspective is there's two areas where we see most of that capital and talent aimed.
Mm-hmm.
Improving customer experience,
Yep.
because there's lots of opportunity in our world to do that, and distribution. You know, the folks that we've talked to that, you know, don't come from our industry, as they analyze it,
Yeah.
they see inefficiency and opportunity from a distribution standpoint. So those are the two big areas we see a lot of focus on.
And just as your own personal journey at Westfield, like what is, like, you know, kind of been your, like, hey man, if we could ever do this, if we could get to that, is there something, you know, like, from just, you know, like you said, working on the simplest of policy changes and maintenance to where you're at today? I mean, what is that from a technological
From a technology
journey?
standpoint, our opportunity in general, but definitely for Westfield, is to meet the customer where they are.
Yeah.
And meet their expectations, which today are literally formed by things like Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And other really, you know, efficient, transparent experiences. That's where we need to get, and technology is going to be one of the ways we do that.
What are some of the things that you guys are working on that you think, like, what if you had to define meeting the customer where they are from a Westfield standpoint, like, what does that look like to you?
It's you know, it's 24/7. It's phone. It's chat. It's mobile. It's web. It's person to person. It's
Yeah.
all of those things in a very flexible, fast, efficient environment.
Yeah.
You know, that's what, you know, from a customer's perspective, there's an awful lot that has to go into people, skills, technology, products, processes to get there.
And how's that kind of mesh with, like, the independent agent? Like, we're, like, kind of we've been accused, whether rightfully so or not, of having our struggles adapting to such things. Like, how do we kind of all start taking that journey together?
So I've seen a pretty significant shift, I think, in the last 10 years
Okay.
in the channel. I mean, 10 years ago, maybe a little less, we started to really assess our agents' capabilities,
Mm-hmm.
and we weren't real thrilled with what we found.
Yeah.
You know, like over half of them didn't have a website. It's totally changed, and there are a lot of independent agents that are very focused on their digital presence,
Yeah.
more sophisticated marketing, including digital marketing, and it's a great trend to see. And so, you know, the best agents that we work with, we're working with them and talking with them on what I just talked about.
Yeah.
From a customer standpoint.
That's one of the things that fascinates me, is that, and I kind of want to hear, like, you know, what sparked that, but you guys really did make some tough decisions on just your agency partnerships and how you view what a good agent is and what isn't. I mean, what was there, like, a moment when you're sitting there thinking, this has to be, like, a, you know, one of the core foundations to make us successful?
You know, my entire career, and I think for the entire history of this company, we've been very focused on the independent agent. It's
Yeah.
been our sole mechanism of together reaching customers, and so we've always been really close. In my tenure, you know, technology changes, lots of things have changed. You know, as we looked at the channel over time, I would say, you know, we realized the channel was changing, whether we liked it or not.
Yeah.
We believed that the channel was going to be around forever.
Yeah.
And there was a place for it, but change needed to happen. And so we started to think about what does the agency of the future look like? And, you know, that agency's got to be investing in talent constantly. They've got to be investing and evolving the way they approach the customer.
Yeah.
So we started to look for those kinds of capabilities and that kind of foresight, and we found it. But if you look across the entire spectrum, there's a spectrum out there as well. And so we felt we really needed to differentiate the various parts of that spectrum.
And what were some of the characteristics? I mean, obviously the website, and I was just up in Milwaukee with Craig the other day, and he was telling me at one point the website evaluation was about equal with their loss ratio. Am I allowed to say that? Is that, like?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Yep.
Which I thought was like, man, I'm impressed, but like if you actually told the agent that, they'd be like, man, you guys are crazy.
Yep. Yep.
And they might have thrown a couple things at you, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you couldn't have heard nice things all the time. Kind of going through that process from the agents.
No, definitely. I mean, there's always, I would say, healthy tension between carriers and agents. There always has been. There always will be. I think that's a good thing, quite honestly.
Yeah.
We push on each other to make each other better.
Yeah.
We approach this process with we want to be successful together well into the future. And we think to do that, these are the kinds of things we both need to be doing. And it's investing in talent. It's, perpetuating its digital capabilities. So we started to measure scores and optimization of websites.
So talking about that talent, this is kind of one of the things that I'm curious as to your perspective. Somebody that had started basically at the ground floor and has worked your way all the way up. It's very unusual now for people in the industry to stay any one place for a long time. Is it like what's the difference back from when you started, that contrast to people kind of jumping around the industry? Like what do you think that they're kind of going through? What are they looking for that maybe the previous generation was able to find at just maybe one company versus where they're going to maybe try the industry from several different angles?
Yeah, I think some of the differences are things like looking for and expecting diverse experiences, and not, over shorter periods of time, and looking for broader experiences in a career, and having that expectation, right? I think my 32 years ago, my expectation was different, and I think the industry was different too. I mean, a lot of us back then, you lived in your silo for most of your, if not all your career. Yeah. If you were claims, and now carriers also are doing what lots of other industries have done, is cross-pollinating and moving people around to get more diverse experiences. So that, it happened both ways, right? Companies realize the benefit of doing that, and then generationally we've got folks that want to do that.
Do you think there's a lack of patience, maybe sometimes to the detriment, or like just they don't want to put in the necessary time? Because let's be honest, like somebody in your position, like 1% of people are starting at the bottom of the company and making their way all the way up. I'm sure that took a lot of have hard work and probably some maybe days, if not weeks, or where it's like, this isn't worth it, or whatever it is, right? But what do you think?
I don't know. It could be patience. That could be. I think that's a fair thought. I think the world's moving at a faster pace today, and there's more change going on in that pace, and I think that's a part of it. And if you grow up in that frames your expectations.
So it's interesting. So it's interesting. So now, do you think that we're in a period where, do you think, much like what we've talked about, you guys, overhauling, like just physically, like in a dramatic way, your campus, is it that the companies haven't reacted fast enough to that change to where it might be an appealing place to work for an extended period of time? Yeah. Possible?
I'll just speak for us.
Yeah, obviously.
We were, probably a little late. We could have reacted sooner. The fact that we waited until our furniture system, we couldn't find spare parts anymore, probably is an indication or a symptom of timing. But with that said, we're really excited about all aspects of our culture, including physical space, being attractive to all generations. Yeah. And also facilitating the kind of work that needs to be done in the 21st century.
I got to see a popcorn machine in action. You guys have some serious popcorn machines around here.
We do. It's part of the brand.
This question might be like lighting a dumpster fire, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, what the hell?
What do you guys think personally, what do you think the industry's biggest vulnerability is?
So I would say, this is getting a little esoteric, but if the economic versus insured gap keeps trending the way it is, we will be covering less and less risk in the world. And I don't think that's a good thing. Yeah. I don't think it means we go away, but I think it starts to create issues, that are challenging.
I wouldn't add much more. I think because the definition of risk, it's easy to say that private equity buying agencies, carriers being leveraged, or some somebody's going to nail an InsurTech solution that's going to. I just don't think that's real, but I think the definition of risk and the evolution of risk and the shared economy, people aren't buying homes, 3D printing is going to start nailing dwellings. I mean, these types of things. So risk looks different, and can the industry adapt?
Is there a certain speed limit that we should be traveling at? Mentioning, going back to the pace, because we have never been accused of moving fast on really much of anything.
Yeah, there probably is. I don't know what it is. There's a structural thing, though, that plays into this, and it's state regulation. Well, and the degree, regardless of what state, the degree of regulation, and that moves slower than we do.
Yes.
And that's just a reality, and so it'll be interesting to watch all this collide. When we need to be evolving our products and services to literally adapt to risk, by the second.
Do you think we'll ultimately get to like a real-time situation?
I mean, you can see it more realistically today, looking forward, I think, right? The pace that things move, managing risk in that world of fast pace has got to be different, I think,
Yeah.
Well, and if sensors and data keep trending, we're going to know by the second where you are, what the environment is around you, and what the risks are, and how that changes, fast.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's possible. It's a matter of when, probably.
Yeah.
That's what I can't figure out.
Last unfair question, I promise. I think.
So far, they're not unfair, really.
Well, I mean, so this is. I have no idea. I can't really put my finger on this one. What does the agent look like when those risks are being managed? When those decisions can be made so much faster, right?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure we know that one either.
Yeah.
All I know is the role of some entity to have a deeper understanding of all that from a risk perspective feels like it's warranted in that situation. How they provide value, that's a great question.
So you're saying that's what we need to spend the next 10 or 15 years figuring out?
It's going to happen, right? And people are going to figure it out, I think. And that's part of what's exciting, right? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but 30 years ago when I showed up in this industry, there wasn't the kind of excitement that we're feeling now. And I think it's because of that kind of possibility that people see. All of a sudden, insurance is a sexy industry in Silicon Valley.
Right.
It's interesting.
I would say, though, to the comments that have been made, I mean, that's like the key question, and I think it's important to note there's a percentage of agencies who are asking that question of themselves, right? I mean, this isn't just sitting in a room, but there is a percentage of agencies who look at the landscape and say, consumers changing, technology is changing. What our core value proposition for a consumer who has a lot more insight, who has a lot different picture of this world than they do today. There are agencies out there who are saying, what is our value proposition long term?
I totally agree. If there's a perception that the channel was stuck in 1970, I think it's inaccurate, because there's some wicked smart folks and agencies all over this country who see all the stuff we're talking about, and they're thinking about it as well.
It's just not the majority yet.
I agree.
I think that's.
I agree.
I think
But it probably never was, though.
Yeah.
Whatever we were dealing with at different points in history, there's always a small segment that are going to leave it and drive it into the future, and those that won't.
As we talked this morning, though, I've seen more movement in the last 10 years, I think, than in my 32-year career. So I feel the trend and the movement. It's great to see.
Yeah.
So that's good news.
Yeah.
Are there things that we're not insuring that we should be or could be, or is there if they're not doing those things, there's obviously like a every reaction sort of thing? Is there something that is valuable to them that does not have the option to be covered?
The first thing that comes to my mind is just personal liability.
Yeah.
So if you don't own a home, if you don't have a car, where are you getting this liability for yourself from? Which is, it's a small example.
What about this is way out there, so I'm apologizing, but with everybody living, kids, just ingrained online now, they're living a lot of their life in public, and that can sometimes be a risk where like somebody that says the wrong thing and like they're unemployable for ever because they're just an idiot for like for a minute or something? Like, is that, I don't even know if that's a thing, but like,
I mean, how many celebrities or famous people are losing their careers over a tweet?
My answer,
CEO
one of the
of Tesla.
answers, that's right, was going to be the whole world of cyber. And when I say cyber, I'm not thinking narrowly, but really broadly.
Right.
So, your personal identity, there's tons of risk there, both from a hacking standpoint, but what you talked about too, reputation,
being an idiot.
That's still a
happens to the best of us.
Window of opportunity of growth for the industry, I think.
And there's products. I mean, if you think about it, there may be some individual products, right? There's, even if you think about it from a personal perspective, there's some cyber offering there today. You know, you can protect your identity. Privacy becomes an issue, but I think to your point, is there a way to think about, because it's all connected, right? Cyber and privacy and identity theft, and so there might be some individual solutions, but it's a large, complicated world. And how are we thinking about? It goes back to what you said earlier about agencies thinking about their value proposition. You know, you sell someone a homeowner's policy, but how do you think about their risk overall? You know, and help them protect, some things that maybe they don't, necessarily contemplate today.
How active are you guys in that space of looking for new technology ideas, or like, is that something you guys are just kind of dabbling in?
No, we've got an innovation strategy. We've got actually a team that's been formed, and we still have some folks to hire. We created a subsidiary called 1848 Ventures this year.
How recently? I feel like I haven't heard about that.
Earlier this year, earlier this year. We funded it with capital. It's a wholly owned sub. That's where we partner with places like Plug and Play, and that's where we're out in the ecosystem trying to understand who's innovating what and what the possibilities might be. We've got multiple experiments going on right now. We're actually trying some things, some concepts, and we're also positioned to invest in that. We could deploy capital into innovation entities if we want to. So it's fairly new, but the area's been around for a couple years. The subsidiary just got formed, so I'd say by next year we're going to be motoring in that arena. So we're excited about that.
Insurance has got a lot of money that it could probably put to use. I mean, of a lot of industries.
So the industry has a lot of excess capital that it's sitting on, and the challenge is how to use that to create value.
Move your body.
How's your salad?
It's good. I'm trying to get through it, man. It's just, I'm like,
Those are big salads.
I need an extra 30 minutes or so.
Yeah,
Everyone's going to be waiting for me.
That's why I didn't order it. It's
a lot of
so
lettuce.
huge.
I mean, I could eat faster, but then it just really wouldn't be appealing for everybody at home. Gotta keep it friendly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the only thing this video is going to show is that I'm a messy eater.
I think you're doing all right.
Well, I've cleaned up twice.
That's what the editing's for, right? That's what the editing's for.
there you go.